The Dravani courtroom was a place where hope came to die, and today it was Cale Vorn's turn.
Cale Vorn, for the crime of theft, you are sentenced to dissolution. The sentence is final.
This is it. No defense, no mercy, just the void.
In the visitors' gallery, a human watched. Patrick Reeves had come to study Dravani law, not to challenge it.
High Arbiter, I request the right to represent the accused.
This is an outrage. A human has no standing in this court.
You understand, human, that Dravani law permits no advocate for the low caste. On what authority do you speak?
On the authority of simple decency. Every being deserves a voice.
This court will adjourn to consider the irregularity. The accused will be held.
Cale was led back to his cell, the chains still heavy, but a single question had wormed into his mind. Why?
The court recognizes the human's curiosity. Patrick Reeves may represent the accused. You have 3 weeks.
I understand the time constraint. I will begin immediately.
3 weeks. That was all the law allowed. If Patrick found nothing, Cale would face the dissolution chamber without mercy. Deep in the courthouse dungeon, Cale lay on the floor of his cell, the weight of his chains anchoring him to despair.
Cale Vorn, I am Patrick Reeves. I am going to do everything I can to free you.
Why? No outsider ever helps the low caste. We are born to suffer, and we die forgotten.
Every being deserves a voice. I believe there's a way. I just need to find it.
Patrick's first stop was the Dravani Legal Archives, a monolithic repository of over 10,000 years of Dravani law. Inside, the archives stretched into infinity, data crystals pulsing with ancient, often contradictory rulings.
Somewhere in this mountain of history, there has to be a key.
For days, Patrick sifted through the archives, the glow of data crystals, his only companion as mockery echoed from the legal clerks.
Still here, human, you are wasting your time. Our law has no mercy for the low caste.
Every system has its loopholes. I just have to find one.
Loopholes? You'll find nothing but dust and forgotten failures.
He pulled a decaying codex from the shelves. Its text mentioned rights of the accused and ancient guarantees, but the pages were too damaged to read fully.
These aren't mistakes. Why are these rights buried?
The days slipped away. Cale's execution was now only 2 weeks off, and Patrick had yet to find a solid defense.
You are running out of time, human. When this is over, I'll enjoy watching the low caste dissolve.
We'll see, prosecutor. We'll see.
Late that night, Patrick stared at a web of forgotten charters he'd traced across a dozen obscure references, all pointing to something the Dravani had long buried. Sleep became a memory. Patrick's eyes burned, but he kept digging, driven by the image of Cale, growing weaker in his cell.
You look dead on your feet. Human, give up. Let justice take its course.
I don't quit. And your justice is exactly what I am trying to expose.
Then, buried in a shattered data crystal, he found a phrase that made his heart pound: the right of champion. But the surrounding text was destroyed.
A champion. Could this be what I am looking for? But where's the rest?
Cale's body was failing. The low-caste diet and damp cell had taken their toll. He barely had the strength to lift his head.
The human still hasn't given up. Why?
Desperate, Patrick cornered an archive clerk, but the Dravani only sneered and turned away. No one would help a low caste's defender.
A fragment, a ghost. But it's a trail, I have to follow it.
With only 1 week left, Patrick's sole lead was 3 words on a broken crystal: champion's right, and the terrifying possibility that it might not be enough. In the archive's fossilized index, he found it. The right of champion, Statute 8972, Unrepealed Edicts, Section 9.
It's real. But Section 9 is sealed. No one's touched it in centuries.
Your time evaporates, human. The council demands the execution proceed on schedule.
Sealed records? You'll never get clearance. You are nothing here.
The sealed section was guarded by archaic bureaucracy, not just walls. But Patrick knew the law, and he began drafting a petition for access.
Human law won't save him. It has to be Drevani law. Their own forgotten words.
Be careful, counselor. Some doors are sealed for a reason.
Then it's time to unseal them.
He filed a formal motion for access, knowing it would alert every enemy he'd made. With the execution 6 days away, Patrick bet everything on a single gamble, that the law he sought was still alive, buried beneath centuries of neglect. In the dungeon, Cale's hope had all but extinguished. He stared at the wall, too weak to even dream of freedom.
Stop. Let me go. Even if there's a law, they will never let you use it.
I won't abandon you. Not when I am this close.
His petition was granted grudgingly. A heavy key unlocked the unrepealed edict's room, where the air was thick with centuries of silence. Dust motes danced in the thin light as he stepped between shelves of crumbling scrolls, untouched by any Drevani for generations.
This is where they hid the truth.
And there, in a sealed cylinder of preservation gel, lay the original parchment, the Right of Champion, its text eternally sharp.
It's perfect. It's absolute. And it's theirs.
He held in his hands the key to dismantle a system of oppression, written by the Drevani themselves and forgotten by their own legal class.
Now, I just need to make them listen.
He retreated to a private study carrel and, with trembling hands, fed the scroll to a translation matrix.
The language is archaic, but the meaning, it's unmistakable.
Statute 8972. Every accused, regardless of caste or birth, shall have the right of champion, a voice to speak and defend them. The text had never been repealed.
It's still law. Still binding. They just stopped honoring it.
He brought the scroll to a retired Drevani archivist, who confirmed its authenticity with trembling hands. It was undeniably law.
They forgot their own foundation. A 900-year-old right collecting dust.
He resealed the scroll and locked it away. Revealing it now would give them time to bury it again.
Surprise is the only advantage I have. I'll spring it when they're most complacent.
With 3 days left, he stayed hidden, preparing his argument, while Selrin and the court believed he had nothing.
Let them think I've failed. Let them laugh. It'll make the truth cut deeper.
On the eve of the final hearing, Patrick came to Cale's cell with a quiet, dangerous hope.
Cale, I've found a path. I can't tell you how, but tomorrow I will speak for you.
You are still fighting. For me. I don't understand it, but I'll hold on. No one has ever fought for us before. Maybe, just maybe.
In the courthouse corridor, Selrin laughed with her colleagues, her final argument already polished.
The human has nothing. Tomorrow I'll watch the low caste dissolve, just like all the others.
The court formally set the final hearing for the next morning, the last session before the execution deadline.
One shot. If I misjudge, Cale dies. If I succeed, 1,000 years of injustice ends.
Cale lay awake that night, the first ember of belief kindling in his chest after a lifetime of darkness. The final hearing was set. The court would soon reconvene, and Patrick Reeves would finally speak. The courtroom was deathly silent as Patrick rose, the execution deadline now only hours away.
High Arbiter, I move to invoke the right of champion, as guaranteed by statute 8972.
What nonsense is this? There is no such law in active practice.
Explain yourself, counselor. You speak of a statute this court has never heard.
From his case, Patrick drew the ancient parchment, its surface glowing softly in the dim court light.
This is the original right of champion, authenticated, binding, and it has never been repealed.
A forgery. Ancient nonsense. This court cannot be bound by a dusty relic.
Enough. This court will recess. Bring the scroll forward. We will examine it ourselves.
A wave of disbelief swept the chamber. The judges' faces betrayed the shock of a system staring into its own forgotten past. The court drained into hushed corridors, leaving the judges to confront a law they had buried for centuries. In the privacy of their chamber, the 3 judges pored over the scroll, the ancient words pulsing under their touch. When the court reconvened, The tension was palpable. Selrin rose immediately, sensing the judge's shift.
That document is a fossil. It has no relevance to present jurisprudence. Dismiss it.
Relevance is not for you to decide alone. The law exists, and it was never struck down.
The court acknowledges the authenticity of Statute 8972. The right of champion is valid.
Valid but dead. It's been ignored for centuries. Enforcing it now would upend everything.
A law's power isn't lost because it's ignored. It only dies if repealed.
The matter is too grave. We will hold a hearing tomorrow to determine its application.
Selrin's protest died in her throat as she read the finality in the arbiter's eyes. The court hadn't freed Kale yet, but it had opened the door that mattered. The past. The hearing on the right of champion began. The courtroom packed with legal elites glaring at the human lawyer.
This court must decide if Dravani law is a living promise. Statute 8972 guarantees every accused a voice.
Conscience is not legal argument. That relic was never intended for modern courts.
You cannot bury a law you dislike and claim it died of old age.
Murmurs split the gallery. Some saw a foundation. Others saw a threat to their entire order. Kale watched from the defendant's table, a faint light of hope breaking through years of despair.
Enforce this, and you'll unravel the very fabric of Dravani society.
The court will hear all arguments before ruling. Proceed, counselor.
The only fabric that unravels is injustice. The law is clear. Honor it.
The first day ended without decision, but the ground beneath the system had shattered. The next day, Patrick called his only witness, Kale Vorn. The low caste stepped forward, chains clanking for all to hear.
You will speak. For the first time, this court will hear a low caste.
I was born into silence. My parents died without a name. I have never been allowed a voice. We are guilty the moment we are born, guilty of being low caste. No one hears us. No one sees us. We vanish, and the world forgets.
You stole. You admit it. Why should this court pity a thief?
Yes, I stole to eat, and for that I lose my life. Is that justice?
A silence stretched. Even the judge's eyes flickered with something uncomfortable.
This is why the right of champion exists, so that Kale Vorn is not silenced forever.
The session ended with raw tension hanging in the air. The court shaken, but the final word still unspoken. On the third day, Patrick carried a worn data slate, historical records from the archive's depth.
These show the right of champion was systematically buried. Generations chose to ignore it.
You accuse this court of centuries-long conspiracy? This insults every Dravani who served justice.
I accuse no one. These records speak for themselves.
Jorath raised a hand, silencing the room with a pulse of red energy.
The court will examine this evidence. We will not be swayed by accusations.
The gallery buzzed. Selrin trembled, but the arbiter's word was final.
I only ask that the law be read as written, not twisted by centuries of convenience.
Another recess was called. The session ended without a ruling, the foundation of Dravani justice exposed. The judges withdrew, faces unreadable. The verdict hung in balance, but truth could no longer be denied. That evening, Patrick walked the courthouse's empty corridors. Shadows moved where they shouldn't, heavy with unspoken threat. A message lit his personal tablet, crimson script that read, "Withdraw, or the next empty corridor won't be empty."
They think fear will stop me. They don't know what I've already faced to get this far.
Before he could respond, a summons arrived. High Arbiter Jorath wished to see him. Immediately.
You have made powerful enemies human. Humiliating the legal class will have consequences beyond this courtroom.
I am already beyond threats. High Arbiter, my only concern is the law and the man they've condemned.
If you persist, you may not leave Dravani space alive. Is one low caste life worth that?
It's not about one life. It's about all of them. I won't back down.
He left Jorath's chamber with the weight of those words. The path ahead was now a tightrope over a pit of knives.
They can try to bury me, but I've already buried their illusion of a just system.
In his room, Patrick rehearsed his closing argument, each word a blade against the coming darkness.
It's not about me. It's about the law, about him.
A note from Kale arrived. You gave me hope. Whatever happens, thank you.
He's already free in his mind. Now I have to make it real.
Celerin requested a private meeting with High Arbiter Jorath.
High Arbiter, if you enforce this ancient law, you will shatter our system. The low caste will flood the courts. Order will collapse.
And if I ignore a valid law, what am I but a tyrant playing judge?
Better a necessary tyrant than the architect of chaos. The law is old for a reason. It was meant to be forgotten.
I will not decide from fear. The court will hear the closing arguments and rule as the law demands. Leave me.
Jorath sat alone, the weight of centuries pressing. The law was clear, but the path forward was not. The courtroom was silent. As Patrick Reeves rose, the ancient scroll glowing softly in his hand.
High Arbiter, I stand here because for 900 years, your own law has been hidden, not destroyed, just ignored. Justice has no caste. It has no expiration date. It only dies when a society chooses to bury it. This scroll is not a relic. It is a promise that every being low caste or high deserves a voice.
His words cut through the chamber. Even Celerin's cold eyes flickered, her argument crumbling.
Honor it. Not for me. Not even for Kale Vorn, but for the law itself, which is all that stands between order and tyranny.
Celerin tried to speak, but no words came. The courtroom held its breath.
This court will now withdraw to deliberate. We will return with a decision.
The three judges rose, their robes rustling in the silence. The doors closed behind them. Kale Vorn sat motionless, his life still hanging by a thread thinner than a prayer. Inside the deliberation chamber, the three judges faced each other. The weight of the law, a tangible force.
We did not create this law, but we cannot erase it. Our ancestors bound us to it.
One judge argued caution, his voice trembling with the fear of setting a precedent that could unravel centuries of custom.
Tradition built on injustice is no foundation. The law is the law. It does not ask our permission.
A commotion sounded at the door. Celerin demanded entry, her voice sharp with desperation, but the guards held firm.
This is madness. Enforcing this relic will destroy millennia of order.
Jorath turned from the door, his four eyes settling on his fellow judges with unblinking resolve.
I will not preside over a court that buries its own foundation. We will honor the right of champion.
A long silence settled over the chamber. Then the other judges, one by one, gave their reluctant assent. The decision was made. The doors opened, and the judges rose to deliver their ruling. The courtroom breathed again as the judges reclaimed their benches. High Arbiter Jorath, standing with a scroll not Patrick's, but his own.
This court holds that the right of champion is valid law. Never repealed, the original trial of Kale Vorn lacked a champion. By the authority of this court and the laws of the Dravani, Kale Vorn is acquitted. The sentence of dissolution is void.
A single collective breath caught in every throat. Then chaos, relief, fury, disbelief, all breaking at once.
I am free. After all of this, I am free.
It's done. The law held.
This cannot stand. The integrity of every court is compromised.
The ruling is final. Guards, release the accused. This court stands adjourned.
The guards removed Kale's chains, the heavy metal clattering to the floor like a debt paid. Kale Vorn walked free for the first time in his adult life, the weight of injustice lifting from his shoulders. Celerin turned on her heel and stormed from the courtroom, her fury a silent scream that no one heeded. High Arbiter Jorath, his voice grave, called Patrick forward as the courtroom settled.
Patrick Reeves, the court offers you a permanent post, the first champion of the Dravani, to speak for the voiceless.
I am just a lawyer. I don't need a title. Justice shouldn't require an outsider to find your own laws.
The offer hung in the air, and the Dravani legal class shifted uncomfortably.
Please process this. I've included the standard Terran legal rates.
Then, from his case, Patrick produced an itemized list. Every hour, every expense, billed in full. It was a statement as much as an invoice. Work done, time spent, a human's labor in defense of Drevany law. The clerk stared at the document. The first bill from a human lawyer ever filed in a Dravani court. Patrick Reeves straightened his tie, gathered his notes, and walked toward the exit. His work here finished. He stepped through the courthouse doors into the harsh Dravani sun, the weight of two worlds briefly on his shoulders. Behind him, Dravani officials stood frozen in the doorway, their unshakable system cracking open for the first time in centuries. Word of Kale's acquittal shot through the city faster than information should travel. At the spaceport, Patrick boarded his transport shuttle, the routine of departure a quiet contrast to the storm he'd left behind.
They'll have to face their own reflection now. I just held the mirror.
The engines hummed as the ship rose. He watched the Dravani homeworld shrink into a bruised marble in the viewport. Down on the planet, the courthouse archives, abandoned for centuries, flickered to life as scholars hunted for other forgotten laws. The right of champion was no longer buried. It was a promise, once again, in the law's own voice. Aboard the ship, Patrick opened his next case file. The work of a lawyer never finished, and for the first time in weeks, he let a small, tired smile cross his face. A soft chime from his tablet broke the quiet. A message from Kale, delayed but determined. I am free. The right of champion is being claimed by others already. You gave us back our voice. The words hung in the recycled air, heavier than any verdict.
They're doing it themselves. That's what justice looks like after the gavel falls.
He closed the message and opened another case file. The galaxy spun on, but somewhere on Dravani, a low caste who had never spoken before was standing before a judge, a champion beside them. The law hadn't changed, but its memory had returned, and that was enough. And for that miracle, one human lawyer had been enough. He looked out the viewport at the stars, endless and indifferent, but somewhere below, a world was learning to hear voices it had silenced for centuries. In the heart of the city, Cale Vorn walked down a sunlit street, no longer a shadow. Passers-by stared, some in confusion, some in hope. He did not lower his gaze. In the courtroom he had left, the right of champion scroll now hung framed, a silent witness. Its ancient words caught the light, a permanent reminder that the law's memory had awakened. On Earth, Patrick Reeves sat at his desk, the skyline of his city steady beyond the window. A new case file glowed before him, another voice waiting to be heard. He reached for his pen, the same one he'd used to draft Kale's motion, and for a moment, he allowed himself to feel the weight of what one case had begun. On Dravani, the first low caste with recognized rights walked into a future he'd never dared to dream, and Patrick Reeves turned to the next page. Because justice never sleeps,